everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now I want to give you guys a kind of an update about what's been going on with me and my associations with everything else that's been going on. I want to give you an update about something. If you've read from the title, that's fine enough for me, but I'm going to tell you something that happened recently. As of the 29th of April this year, 2023, I have officially left the Conservative Party, and after a little time after that, have joined Reform UK. Now, I want to explain things in a little bit more better detail, more edited and more qualified way of talking about these things, because I believe it's better for me to talk to you in person in a more edited fashion than doing a live stream video that I did before. But you can actually watch that video down below with the link, which is on my Instagram. Reminder, that is my main platform. Everything else is just kind of side hustle until everything becomes mainstream and popular and everything else like that. One of the first things I need to explain myself about is my mind's changed on a lot of things, but there are a few points that I want to make out. And one of these is my granny's passing. There's some things my granny meant to me which meant more than most of the other family members. She was with me through most of the time I was going through problems when I left the house or got kicked out the house, whatever version is ever going to get believed. I stayed with her, and she was also probably the only one that maybe listened to me. She didn't maybe always agree, she listened. And then this year, after my mum called the ambulance to go and help her, they said she was fine. They didn't even take her to the hospital. The next day she's dead. So I guess that's just the Tory party's fault then. You know, I can't be political about that, can I? Anyway, there's something that my granny said that always stuck with me. It was identity stuff that you didn't like. For some of you didn't understand what I just said. What it simply was, don't do things you don't want to do. And it also ties with something I do actually say myself, that is, if it doesn't benefit you, don't do it. And those things I have very good things in common. If you don't like doing something you don't want to do, or if there's stuff that's in your life and you feel like they should be taken out, changed, or whatever, they should be taken out, changed, or whatever you have to do to make sure they work. And I don't care what extent that goes. That could be the loved one to something your child does to the family pet, or you. You have to change something because you don't like it. But it doesn't mean, if the whole world doesn't agree with you, it doesn't mean you're right either. But if there's something that could be fixed in your world, you can change it. And that's why I left the Conservative Party. Now, this is the thing you want me to talk about, isn't it? You want me to talk about the Tories and bash them to kingdom come, just like every left-wing, Labour-supporting, not Marxist, socialist supporting git. I will not do that, because I have other reasons to leave the party. Reasons that are profound and are the downfall of its party itself. But there's too much people in the party that are yes men. Yes men that will just blindly follow everything they say and do without cause, just because they're not the other side. But this is a big but. I'll tell you this now. This might be shocking to some of you who think the Tories are evil, they're all conservative and that. The Conservative Party is not conservative. Yes, you heard me right there, you bunch of normies. The Conservative Party is not conservative. If it was conservative, it wouldn't be provoking woke ideologies every Pride Month, turning its little fucking tree into multicolours to support this new woke religion. The party, although it has members who are conservative in mind, they are in the wrong party now, because the woke liberal establishment has corrupted the inner workings of the Tory party now, apart from the very few who still stand there for whatever reason they have left to be in the party, are now stuck amongst a bunch of liberal hacks inside the Conservative Party. And now the Conservative Party is a liberal hack job. But I'll explain more. The Conservative Party, as you can see in the public sphere from everything else, it has no interest in preserving, protecting, or restoring any of the old culture that this British Isles have. Are they protecting our borders? No. Are they protecting our sovereignty? No. Are they protecting the people, the ethnic groups? Are they protecting the people who are home to this island? No. They're not doing anything. Are they looking after the laws of security, our laws of traditions, our families, our children? No. They're not doing fucking any of this. It is beyond a joke. It's beyond a joke before anything else I can explain more than a few times. Because they're just not conservative anymore. And it's worse depending who you look at more. Do you watch the TV and watch Boris Johnson? Or do you look at other stories that actually makes people like me look really stupid in supporting these guys? But perhaps this is one subject I'm talking about too much. Because there are other things this party does that is so stupid and so immoral from their own standards inside the party itself, which makes no sense. Like, when they won the massive 368 seat election in 2019 to get the Brexit vote through, the first thing you saw them basically do was hammer Boris Johnson down as much as fucking possible. The man who gave you the biggest parliamentary majority in years. Yes, he's a bit of a bumbling fool. Yes, he's sometimes unlikable. But he's the man who delivered Brexit. A form of Brexit. Not the best one, but a form of Brexit. He is the man who can walk back at any time on a noble steed and claim the fucking high ground as the king on the other side. It's a fucking joke that you kicked the guy out in the first place. And this is where I would have actually left the party back then. But I did not. What other things can we look at? The pandemic, perhaps, when they locked us down, divided the powers between all the different legions where you had... What the fuck was that to deal with? Our rights, our freedoms, our opportunities, what we can decide for ourselves and our bodies, taken away by this powerful government, and nothing of the sovereignty of the people. How is that conservative in any form? I do not know. Because most of the time we saw them giving money and jobs to their friends with big checks. Perhaps those things are things I should be criticising them for. But the thing about Brexit was my biggest thing. Because what they did when they won that seat, they did fucking nothing with it. They did absolutely jack shit fuck all. If the country actually had a government that was interested in making Britain successful as an independent country, it isn't really doing that much of a job. Yes, you made trade deals. Yes, you made people that want to work over here, over there. You've changed all that dilemma. But honestly, after the pandemic, did you actually continue that legacy? Not fucking really, no. But those are the big political things. Those are the things that I would say toe and toe with what I should have left when they announced Boris Johnson. The man that gave you that 360 seats, or how much seats it was, into that massive general election that was just saw the entire destruction of the Liberal Left Labour Party Lib Dem Green Coalition lot, apart from the stupid SNP lot. Which gives me one of these points I need to talk about. The Scottish Conservatives. Scottish Conservatives. One of the many reasons why I would leave the Conservative Party entirely. I'll tell you now, when I'm going to different conferences and events, I'll tell you something. The English ones are better. The English ones are more fun, more lively, more diverse in opinions, and are more intellectually capable of having better conversations. The Scottish Tories, however, are not. Just like many things that happen in Scotland. Many things are a country that I'm part of, born from, and don't really identify anymore thanks to very Anglophobic nationalism in Scotland, thanks to the SNP and other things. But I'll tell you something. Just what the lefties do claim about the Conservatives is definitely 100% like with the Scottish Tories. They have a professional amount of snobbery around them. Yes, I've said it too. They have a special type of snobbery which is only that you see in Scottish Tories. Better than anyone else. And people will disagree with me very hard about that. But honestly, when you're talking to me and you act like I know everything because I am better than you, but if you disagree with me, you are a peasant. You must not talk to me, peasant person. But honestly, this is the kind of things that annoy me the most. Do I sound like this sometimes? I do, to get the upper hand in a conversation where people think they're so much better than me, but they're only blindsided by their own worldview. I can see the entire world, including yourself. Something that's a little bit hard for other people to see, but I don't blame them. I have too much time on my hands for them to understand. But the Scottish Conservatives, let's talk about them. Members are not bad. The members of the party, they're okay. Some of them are very traditional British people, some of them are traditional Scots, with their own unique accents and things about them, which is very good, which I like. But the members of parliament and the people with a high salary of any kind, whether it's from real work, government work, or so on, they act in this special type of snobbery. This little look down on that person because they speak different from me. And I saw this 2 times very, very differently. The Scottish Conference of Aberdeen in the P&J. Now, one thing that stuck with me was I should have left the party then. And this was not long after. The only reason I kept voting Conservative after that was to make sure Brexit happened. And the fact that it took 5 years for that to happen was a bit of a fucking joke in itself. But anyway, when I went to the Scottish Conference, there was a few things that stuck out to me a lot. The snobbery, which I was talking about before, where I believe there was so many things that could have been said about that party that at the time, especially in the Scottish ones, the snobbery was definitely one of them. Okay? I'll tell you now, everyone that was in that room disagreed with, if anyone disagreed with you at any sort of level, you were looked away from, uninterested and unworthy, even if you were dressed up in a nice suit or anyone like that. There was a few people in there that felt like that too. And it continues on to this day. The upwittingness, the snobbery of what we are supposed to believe in the Westminster establishment is like, compared to the Scottish one, is definitely upheld in the Scottish Parliament of amongst all official members. Suppose not a few, but damn, it's nearly all of them. And Conservative and all other parties too. I'm better than you because I get paid more money and I get the attention and you don't. Your opinion doesn't matter. And during that event, it was a bit sad, of all things, was they were very pandering to Ukraine at the time. Although the war just kicked out not long after, I think it was a month or so after, everyone was like, poor Ukraine, poor Ukraine, poor Ukraine. And anyone who questioned it, like me, or knew any of the background from that war, like Donbass being bombed by Ukraine, of all things, that opinion wasn't good enough for them. But if you were like anti-SNP, oh, you're flying, you were great. But if only if I stuck in that small bubble long enough, I would look like an SNP member or an independence movement person. Good, I actually think outside the bubble and I'm not a yes man. It's very weird that. And I'll tell you one thing about the Scottish Conservatives, and I wouldn't talk about the members. The members are fine. But the government officials, the ones that are registered, the proper ones, the ones that you advise to, they're very close-minded. Especially the Scottish ones. Not the ones that go down to England. They're fine, because they see a bit of the other world. You know, another world. But the Scottish ones, who don't really leave Scotland that much, and they like Scotland, but they don't seem to know much about Scotland. If you blow up the Massacre of Glencoe, they would have no clue what that is. If they talked about the Nord Stream pipeline before it blew up, would they know? Not really. Would they know anything about the Biden laptop in the United States before the election? Would they know about Hillary's emails before the election of Donald Trump? Or would they just believe everything that was told them on the TV by everyone else? Would they know about things like the World Economic Forum or things like that, where certain people on the internet and citizens themselves of their very own country are very concerned with? But would they know anything about that? No, they have no idea what that is, because they're so stuck in their own world. And that's one thing I would say is stuck in Scotland. They're so stuck in this stupid little paradigm where the world is Scotland and that's it. And I say that's a lot of problem with Scottish people in general. They don't look at the past when they had a great success of the shipbuilding industry, the iron, the steel, the coal, everything from energy to all that. They all live in this fucking world, not just Torys, everyone, most people who haven't been outside the world and knows how the other side of the world works, is very stuck in this Scottish-only mindset. A lot of people do not agree with me on that. It's because they've actually seen the other side of the world. But the thing is, when you're shutting down oil industry and you know the next Labour government's not going to be investing in oil in the next 20 years, do you think the oil companies are going to be any fucking interested in coming to Scotland? There's reasons Shell, BT and other firms are planning to leave Scotland for many other reasons than just oil. It's taxes, it costs too much to drill into the North Sea. There's only so many oil rigs they can have commissioned at once, but they can go to the Middle East and buy oil for cheaper than they can drill in the North Sea. And that is very hard for people in any form to understand because they're so stuck in the mindset of Scotland is the world. They almost act like England is this fallen entity from the other side of the Dark Forest where the Dark Elves are. It's almost Lord of the Rings logic to this one. But when I was at the conference, there was one thing that actually gave me a little bit of revival, a little bit of hope. Let's talk about political stuff, but let's keep it to the Scotland-only question stuff, which I couldn't give two shits about. If I talk about anything about the Nord Stream pipeline blowing up, the Ukraine war, do I talk about the BRICS countries, do I talk about anything in America? It's not fucking interesting to them. And there's a lot of people like this too. And these are the kind of people everyone needs to get them kicked out of their heads, their spaces and everything else. There's people like that in England that don't actually have this idea at all, which is fantastic. But the ones in Scotland are so stuck in their own little fucking world, which I'll repeat this again, it's annoying. And it's time we all decide to move off. But I'm going to leave this here as it's going quite long as it is. You can tell how angry I'm getting from this one person, and this does conclude to a lot of people. So I'm going to leave this one here, and in the next video, which should be up tomorrow, will be about the conferences, the events I was at, the Tory ones, and me joining the Forum UK. So thank you guys. If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.